during the COVID-19 pandemic. Through sharing her experience, she creates a trusted space for women seeking guidance, support, and resources to empower themselves to embrace their bodies, amen, and navigate the transitions of menopause with confidence and grace. Sherelle's voice resonates not just within her community, but also in broader discussions about women's health, rights, and empowerment. Her work reflects a deep-seated belief in the power of education, community, and self-care to transform lives. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Sherelle Flagg.
Hello everyone. Thanks for having me. Thank you to our president, Elizabeth Walsh, and everybody else at WBEC and WBEC East. Yes, I come with accessories, as you heard. I'm in menopause, so I have eyes now. And anything is possible with me. So I might break out into a hot flash. I have my fan. I might start taking off, I'm not gonna say all my clothes, but layers. Because whatever it takes, I might forget what I'm about to say next, because these are things that we experience in menopause. But again, here I am. So I got thrown into surgical menopause during the pandemic in 2020. I want to take you back a little bit. I don't know if you recall how crazy it was back then. But I'm a business owner, own a salon and spa, and during that time, we were shut down for 3 months. So that was already like life-changing and caused every type of anxiety and headaches, whatever. So we made it through that. We opened the salon back up after the 3 months, and then I was told that I had to have an ovarectomy, which I had one ovary that had to be removed because it was no longer serving me. And I was told that this had to happen in the next 2 weeks. Like, I just got back to work. What do you mean? This cannot happen. And it's COVID. So I wanted to push it out, and my doctor was like, I really can't allow you to push this out. Like, you have to have this. Your life depends on it. And it was really like as simple as that. So during that 2 weeks time, I had to figure out what that meant for me, my businesses, my life, period, my children, my husband, like everything that was connected to me was about to change. And boy, did it change. I had the surgery, and I want to back up a little bit. During those 2 weeks, which felt like it was a split second, I started trying to figure out what resources I had available to me. What woman could I reach out to talk to? Because I do hair, and I didn't see a lot of them having hot flashes, while doing their hair. So they're here. I can speak to these women. I can speak to my mom. Didn't have my grandmothers to talk to. I tried to reach out to every woman that I knew that had reached this stage to get some answers. Well, long and behold, nobody wanted to talk about it. They were like, menopause? No, honey, I didn't have menopause. Me? Menopause? And I'm clearly looking at you like, you're 70. Come on, right? But again, that was the temperature. Nobody wanted to talk about it. And then what I learned is the women that were at least open to admitting that maybe they had a hot flash, they had very little knowledge. So even though they wanted to have the conversation, they didn't know what to talk about, because most of them only knew about a hot flash, and that was it. So I realized that this void was there, and that I really wasn't getting anywhere with these divas. They wasn't giving me nothing, like nothing at all, right? So I was like, okay, I gotta find something. Talk to the doctor, whom I had a very, very amazing relationship of over 2 decades with, and I really didn't get anything from her either. It was pretty much like, okay, you're going to have this surgery. You have to have this surgery. And when you're done, if you want to feel normal, you can take these pills. You can take HRT, and that'll help you. Well, I didn't know nothing about that either. So I started just really just doing my due diligence and just studying and just researching everywhere. I mean, I found that in the United States, we weren't really well versed in menopause in 2020. Like, you hear conversations today, more so than anything. I mean, they've, for goodness sakes, they've done whole Super Bowl commercials now, right? I mean, no offense, men, but if you guys were going through menopause, we would be on the field playing, you know what I'm saying? We could get the word out there with M's on our chest, running around and everything. But for us, you know, we just have to kind of like suffer in silence. And that was like the nature of every which way that I went. So I started looking to the UK. I saw that they had a lot more education. They were having more conversations about it. Then I started talking to like more women, like, hey, you can't just deal with this in silence. We really have to talk about this. And I learned pretty much everything that I could possibly learn in those 2 weeks. Still didn't know how I was going to wake up, right? I'm a God-fearing woman. Now, if you've had a hot flash, you've probably become even more God-fearing, right? So I just had to put all my trust in God and knowing that, okay, you put me on this journey. Obviously, I'm being used as some type of vessel of voice. Don't know what that is, but I'm here for the duration, like whatever that means and whatever it looks like. So, first of all, I'm not against any woman that chooses to do hormone replacement therapy, because you have to survive menopause the best way you can. You have to do what's best for you. So I applaud, you know, any woman that is being honest and saying, I need help during this journey. For me, I wanted a more holistic approach. So I started looking for natural things to help with symptoms and the way I was feeling. And because I would literally wake up like, who are you today? And what are you doing? Look me in the eye. Blink twice if you're in there. I just really had no clue. It's like you're entering into this new person, this new woman, and you have very little. It's probably one of the dumbest places I've ever been in my life, right? So I was like, wait a minute, this isn't me. I have businesses to run. I gotta take care of my son, my husband. Not my son, husband. You know, he's pretty much used to me doing almost everything. Y'all know how it goes. Come on, start. I'm just keeping it real up here. But I didn't know who is Sherelle now. What does she have to deal with? What are you taking on? How are you going to conquer this? Because there were days that I woke up and forget the hot flashes. We know about the hot flashes. They call them vasomotor symptoms and the things that we can see that happen to us. But when you start talking about the psychological things that come up that we don't know about, like depression, anxiety, these are things that I never experienced in my life. But the slightest thing, like, I mean, you know how long it took me to get ready for this speech today? It's like the simple things that you're used to doing, they're no longer simple anymore. Everything is more challenging. So I was like, wait a minute. So you mean to tell me, not only are we experiencing 5,000 degree temperatures at any given time, I'm forgetting stuff, I can't see, my hair's thinning, right? The brain fog is crazy. And you're trying to tell me there's nothing out here for me? Nothing? Nobody to talk to? No resources? Nothing? We gotta fix this. So that's how I came up with Pretty Moody. I felt that we had this huge void that needed to be filled. By the year 2025, it is said and a known fact that over 6 billion women, let me just let that sit for a second. Can you imagine 6 billion of us? bed in this room? Throw on hot flashes and anxiety and all that other stuff. 6 billion women by the year 2025 will have entered into menopause. And these are conversations that we have to be able to be comfortable with having with our healthcare providers, with our sisters, with our girlfriends. Any woman that has ovaries, had ovaries, is going to experience menopause. This isn't something that's just going to go away. It's going to skip you. Oh no, you're cute, so I'm not going to bother you today. No. Every single last one of us. And I come across countless women that say, "Oh well, yeah, I didn't go through that. I didn't have menopause." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, how old are you?" And you hear me say age because age is the driving factor. You right? We always think you got to be old to be in menopause, which is not true. But they'll say things like, "Well, I'm, in my 60s and I feel good." It doesn't mean that you have skipped menopause because you might not be aware of what those symptoms could mean for you. And to the younger females, perimenopause starts in your 30s. Right? Yes, let's clap it up for Perry. We love her. Right? And for the men, you all need to know, she's not crazy. It's not her, right? You wake up and she's smiling, and in the next second you're like, "What did I do?" It's not her. It's probably Perry or Miss Minnow or one of those. But again, talking to, as a hairstylist, I talk to women all day long, right? Talking to these women, hearing their stories. I've dealt with pretty much all ages of women that come into the salon, and now that they know that I am their vessel and I am their voice, they are very much so willing to open up and talk about it now. And that was what my goal was, to start the conversations so that we can bridge the gaps, address the disparities that we're facing, and understand that this is a natural part of our life that we have to deal with. So what I want to do for every woman that I come in contact with is to make sure that I can show her how to educate herself to have the best quality of life while she's on her menopause journey. Everybody's journey is different. Everybody's story is different. You're not going to just look at a woman and say, "Oh, this is where, she is in her journey." But I bet you, if you're in any space on your journey and you just open up a conversation about it, you'll find a friend for life, right? We need to have other women that we can reach out to, reach up to, reach down to help us with this. We can't do it alone anymore. So the Pretty Moody Foundation and Pretty Moody is here to do that. We also like to educate young girls on their journeys to womanhood, because I would probably bet $1 million if someone would have had a conversation with me when I was younger about the woman that I was becoming today, I would have walked into this journey way more different than how I had to walk into it. So I want to make that difference for the younger girls coming behind me, to start educating them now. Like, you think about what you're taught in school, in elementary school, when you're going through sex ed. Like, how long ago was that done? Right? There's so many things that, don't even get me started there. There's so many things that need to be redone with the whole education, sex education, especially as it pertains to women. We're not being heard. We feel embarrassed, and it's really no need for that. It's just like puberty or anything else. It's going to happen, right? You can't run from it. So we have to get this word out. I found also that there were like over 50 symptoms that I found. Over 50, well over 50 symptoms. That's a lot, right? Usually, if you're diagnosed with something, they tell you, oh, you might experience this, you might experience that, or you might see the commercial that after you get it and they tell you it's about to fall off. And, but for something like menopause, like, why are we not screaming out about this? Like, why do we not know how we're affected? As women, some of us are CEOs, you're running your own business, moms, whatever it is that you're doing. From the bottom all the way up to the top. You have to understand what's happening with your body so that you can function. Like, imagine that you have a staff and you can't even take care of yourself anymore, right? And you're not being vocal about what you're experiencing, so you're not getting the help. So I demand that every single last woman have these conversations openly with your friends, your family. Demand that your healthcare providers listen to you. Because a lot of times we get about 2 seconds in that room after you've waited 45 minutes to get in there, right? And then they're kicking you out. No, that's not how it goes. If you're not getting what you want from your healthcare provider, then find another one. And you keep searching until you find the one that feeds your soul. And it's going to help you have, again, that better quality of life that you're looking for. Menopause can be very debilitating. And that's, again, something that we don't look at. We just think that, oh, it's just menopause. She'll be okay. She'll have a couple hot flashes, get angry, put her in the corner a couple minutes, she's good. No, that's not how it goes. And a lot of times being shunned off just puts you in, a worse place, right? So learn to speak up and advocate for yourself. It'll take you, oh my gosh, on this menopause journey, it's going to take you very far. One of the other things I learned is that women are saying, oh, I'm done. I went through it, I'm not having it anymore. Newsflash, we stay in postmenopause until, can anyone guess? Death. Right? So I don't want to live this journey feeling like death until I get there. So I'm going to look for everything possible that I can for me and for every other woman that I impact. Pretty Moody is, we're all about education, advocation, providing resources. I've mentioned the HRT earlier, but I came up with natural products that I use to help manage my symptoms. It was what I needed for me, and then other women said, hey, what's that? So I started sharing, and some things may work for you and some things may not, right? That's again why it's important that you understand where you are and what your needs are in menopause. I just want to make sure I told you, want to make sure I'm not forgetting nothing.
Well, Sharon, actually, I wanted to ask you a question. It seems like, just from the reaction of the audience, obviously, thank you so much for sharing that and for being such an amazing advocate for this particular issue and for encouraging others to be advocates, because I think that's incredibly important as well. So lots changed over the last decade in women's health, and maybe not particularly to menopause, but in women's health in general. What do you kind of touched on this, what do you see for the future, not just for Pretty Moody, but for the larger picture nationally maybe, and from an educational standpoint? What do you hope for?
My hope is that, and I just saw that a bill was passed where I think it's like $12 million is being invested into women's health care. And my hope is that with that, we don't stop there. With that we're not overlooked. With that the work is just going to be a continuous process, and we're going to continue to break these glass ceilings down. because we need to continue to move forward in the women's health arena so that, again, we're upheld and we're understood and we're not just shunned to the side. So my hopes is that we are just in a continual forward moving process in the healthcare system.
Thank you.